This is how I have configured initiate checkout event on more than 40 different Shopify stores. So the first thing we have to do is make sure that our customer events are working fine. To do that, all you have to do is go to the Shopify backend and then click on the settings button on the bottom left corner and then scroll down to the customer event sections. Once you are on the customer event section, click on the add custom pixel, and since this one is going for the meta initiate checkout data layer, let's click on add pixel. So this will make all the changes available for us. We have to be super sure that the permissions are set to not required and data sale is set to data does not qualify. Scroll down to the code section. This is where we will be adding the code snippet that we have. In the description of the video, you will find a blog post which looks something like this. And if you will scroll down a little, you will find a section where you have the code snippets. Let's copy the code, go back to our Shopify backend and paste the code right here. Perfect. You can see that this is going to trigger a begin checkout event that will have all the e-commerce details that we need. If you will scroll up all the way to the top, you see that we have to add the Google Tag Manager container ID right here. So let's go to our Google Tag Manager account, click on the ID and just copy the last part which we need for this one. Let's go back to our Shopify store and paste the ID right here. Great. Now we can hit save changes and connect this pixel with our Shopify backend. Doing this thing, we are done with section 1 and section 2 of the video. But before jumping to section 3, let's just verify if everything is working alright. So let's go to our Shopify front-end store. And now let's just go directly to the checkout page because we already have an item to the cart. So let's just go to the checkout pages. And as soon as we land on the checkout page, we can see that the begin checkout event has fired. To verify if everything is working, right click on the page and then click on the inspect button. This will open developer preview. Inside this developer preview, let's go to the console tab. Great. On this console tab, you can see that a data layer event for begin checkout has fired. This also has an event data as well as an e-commerce parameter data, which contains all the details of the items, the value of the event, as well as the currency parameter. So we have the data layer event working. Now we can move to the next step, which is configuring the Google Tag Manager container. On our Google Tag Manager container, we need a few things before we can finally start pushing the event. So let's just start with the templates section because this is the most important one. On the template tag, we need a template tag created by Facebook Pixel Archive team. So let's just click on search template tags. Let's just search for Facebook. And this is the tag we are going to use. Let's click on add to workspace and then click on add. This will add the tag template on our workspace so we can use this tag template later. For the variable template, we are not going to search anything. Just click on the new button and on the same blog post, you will find a link where you can download this template. Click on the import button and then select the template that you have just downloaded and click open. This is the e-commerce parameter generator template. Then let's click on save changes. Great. Now, since we have all the templates we need, we can go to the variable section to create the variables. For this video, we only need 3 different variables. One is for the Facebook Pixel ID. So let's create that one first. Since Facebook Pixel ID is a constant variable, we don't need to change it again and again. So let's select a constant variable for this one. And on the event manager, let's copy the dataset ID, go back to the GTM container and paste the ID right here. Let's call it metapixel ID and hit save changes. Great. The second variable we need is actually only for the e-commerce parameter generator, but which is the e-commerce items array. So let's select the data layer variable and make it e-commerce.items array. Let's rename this as DLV e-commerce.items and hit save changes. The last parameter we need is the custom parameter that we just created a few minutes ago. So let's just select e-commerce parameter generator. The only thing it needs is the array of object. Since we already have a data layer object, let's select that one and let's rename this as e-commerce parameter generator. And since this is for meta, let's just select meta and hit save changes. Great. Now we can go to the trigger section and create a trigger which is for begin checkout event. Since this is a data layer event, we have to create a custom event for this one. So let's scroll down to the custom event and select begin_checkout. Let's rename this variable as custom event begin checkout and hit save changes. Now let's go to the tag sections and click on new. For the trigger, we are going to select the begin checkout trigger that we just created. And for the tag, we will select the tag that we have imported earlier. The only thing it needs is the Facebook Pixel ID. So let's select the Facebook Pixel ID through the variables, which is right here. The name of the event is initiate checkout. So let's select that. And the last thing is for the e-commerce parameter generator. We can load them through the e-commerce parameter generator for meta that we just created a few minutes ago. Perfect. Let's rename this tag as meta initiate checkout. Everything looks good. Unfortunately, we won't be able to test this one using the preview window on the Google Tag Manager container, so we have to publish the changes first. So let's rename this version as Tracking Academy Meta Initiate Checkout and hit publish. Once the changes has been published on the website, we can again verify to make sure everything is working alright. So let's go back to our Shopify store and go to the front end and then directly go to the checkout pages again. Great. Once you are on the checkout page, you can use Chrome extension called Metapixel Helper extension, and using this extension, you can see all the events that are going to fire on this page. If you click on this extension, you will be able to see that the initiate checkout event has fired, and it also has the contents array, content name, content ID, as well as value and currency parameter. You can also verify the same information from Facebook Test Event Center. So on the Test Event Center, let's connect our Shopify store with this backend and click on Open Website. Now we have to do the same thing. Go back to the checkout page again to trigger the checkout event so we can see the event inside the test center. So once the checkout page has loaded, we can go back to the event manager to verify if the event parameters are working fine and the name of the event is also correct. Great, we can see that the initial checkout event has been received and it has been processed correctly, and it also has all the details about the contents, content name, content ID, and all the good stuff that we need. Now, if you want to see how to trigger the view cart event, you can watch this video right here.